So guys, this is the pig garden. I haven't shown it to you since, I'll throw a clip right here. Well, didn't that look like a great idea? Well, as you can see, it was just, honestly, I just gave up. We had so much flooding in the spring, and it was like all of my efforts were constantly wasted. So I said, I ain't got time for this. But one of the things that did work, and Todd just ran and grabbed the camera because the potatoes are done that I threw in here. I'm harvesting those. And the best surprise is there are tons of volunteers coming up all over. So go figure, I guess. So here's just a few that I harvested earlier. And you guys know I love growing potatoes in the Ruth stout method because they come out so clean. So I'm just digging in the straw and see what I find. Not a ton. I mean, I never ever single once watered in here. It's just rain.
Myself young and restless, a lampoon of youth. So who am I to really teach you anything? Do I know what's true for you? But at least I think there are some nuggets.
So if you're growing potatoes for the first time, and you don't know what to do, you just let these dry. Don't leave them in the sun or they'll turn green and they're not good for you anymore. And then they'll be long-term keep. Don't wash them though. You want that outer layer to be the protection. And so my favorite ways, red potatoes for me don't store very long. So I like to cut these up and use them in like potatoes O'Brien. So I take a bunch of onions and green peppers and seasoning and olive oil and chop up potatoes, and then I freeze them in the freezer bag, and then they're great breakfast potatoes. And another option, you can eat them fresh. So if you didn't want to harvest them all and some of them are ready, you can come out and just harvest what you need for dinner and eat them fresh.
Don't you try to run away from shadows, they always catch up. Learn to face whatever demons come your way. Don't become a stranger to hard labor, there's no other way. Hear me when I say, but if your aim is straight, and if you're willing to wait, you're gonna get there. Wait and see.
Okay, so you guys want to go take a look at the rest of the pig garden? And I'll just show you the worst of it. So this row was where the corn was planted. I planted probably 150 seeds or so. I think I made it about halfway down. This was the only corn that came up. It just got completely flooded. And don't say anything about the weeds or anything like that, because I know if my garden would have came up, I would have managed the weeds. But because it didn't, I didn't manage anything. Okay, it's been a while since I've been in here because I so gave up. But this is the row that I planted tomatoes and sunflowers in, using my little mini greenhouse method. And I gotta show you guys what I found. Look, Todd. Look at this poor tomato plant growing in the pop bottle. Sorry, guy. It's a little late for him, but look, here's another one. Actually, two. They just got a really late start from being drowned, I guess. I'm not going to worry about them because I have 30 tomato plants in my regular garden, but I do have 2 beautiful sunflowers coming up in here out of about 50 that I planted though. So this row was, cabbages and onions, and the cabbages never did anything. They're getting ate up. The onions certainly didn't do anything. It was all my extra onions from the main garden. But look, I see I've got a couple volunteer squash popping up, so I'll let those go and see what we get. This row was probably doing the best. It's my broccoli and extra collard, or not collards, Brussels sprouts. I just harvested a head of broccoli off up here. I've harvested one other. I'm not quite sure why they're doing good. They are late for the season. Here's a really nice Brussels sprout, but again, I'm not watering this garden. I have no way to water it, so they're suffering a little bit, plus the weed pressure. I'm not fooling with it. I've got enough in the big garden. This was a total experiment to say, after the pigs tilled everything, would it be a manageable garden space? For me, just timing-wise and extra work, it didn't work for me. So this is the most surprising space. None of this was planted, and I have a ton of stuff coming up. Let me show you. So we have volunteer tomato plants, pumpkins galore. I have tons of, these are tomatillo plants. Of course, they're suffering now because I'm not watering them. The lettuce, guys, the lettuce was crazy in here. Of course, it's bolted, but lettuce. I've harvested so much of it for the chickens. They've ate a ton. I was so surprised because at the end of the season, I just threw all the, bolted lettuce to the pigs. And wow, crazy how well it seeded itself. So, I'm hoping for a good fall pumpkin harvest out of this garden, if nothing else. So at the beginning of this video, I showed you guys my modest red potato harvest. I get that. But let's recap what we were trying to do here before I take you guys into the main garden and show you my real potato harvest. So in the late spring, I guess, early spring, honey? Was it early spring? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we came out here. It was all tilled up from the garden, from the pigs. And we laid down a whole bunch of Ruth stout beds, just using leftover old straw and hay. And I tried to plant all the things that I showed you. Monsoon season came this spring, and I lost just about everything. It was a busy time of the year for me, so I gave up on this experiment altogether. Now, will I do it again? Maybe when I retire and I have more time. But let me take you into the main garden and show you what I got going on there. It's going to be exciting. So everything between this panel and that panel in my main garden, this is all my potatoes. Kennebec and red potatoes, Idaho Reds. And as you can see, it's still flowering. It's still growing great, not even close to being done. This again is in a Ruth stout bed, but in a managed garden fashion, meaning that I do water it when it gets needed. So guys, stay tuned because I'm sure it won't be long and these flowers will have died off and it'll be potato harvest season, and I'm gonna get to show you how this potato garden did this year.